everyone, this is episode 154 of Noodle Time. Welcome back. Mark is not with us tonight, but I'm covering the hosting duties in this new episode of Dynamo Therapy. But here with me, I do have OSG. How's it going, sir?
What's up, bro? What's up? It's been a minute since I've been here, but I'm back to Vit. Let's go. H is up.
Yeah. And also, we got a very special guest here tonight with us, a Noodle Time original, Tony Rubio. Sir, welcome back. How's it
What's
going?
going on? What's going on, guys? Good to be back. Happy to talk to some Dynamo, even if it's not the best of times. But
Always and forever. Forever means always, man. At the good ones and the bad times, we are here no matter what. But man, I don't know where to start because my emotions since that San Jose game have been everywhere. I've been trying to stay mentally collected because that game made me so angry. But I do have a lot of thoughts, guys. But first and foremost, Tony, thank you so much for hopping into our chat for today.
yeah,
We're going to start with the game against San Jose. And guys, I want to hear first your thoughts. But I'm going to start with Tony first because I do not have words to describe my rage that I'm about to display right now.
man. And that's the whole, you know, sentiment of the season for me has been apathy. And that's exactly what I felt on Saturday. I don't even feel anything. I'm just desensitized to these losses now. I was watching the game. I had family over celebrating some family, and I was the one sitting in the living room watching the game by myself. And all for what? All for what, man? I
Yeah,
should have gone. I should have been playing Loteria with the family in the living room. But no, man. The game is just the Ben's run out of ideas. It's just you can tell the players are mad at each other, or just not gelling. Especially Linger. I feel really bad for him. He just looks like he's not settling in with the team, and it's just more of the same that we keep seeing all season. Nothing's changing. We have nobody left to rotate in center back. We've seen everybody just. We just need to put Escobar and Steres back there and hope they play like 2 years ago.
Well, we hadn't seen
really.
Escobar at center back at all. Some of us like to see him at center back if there's a chance, if he's not injured right now. But yeah, who's the center back pairing?
And that's been the question since even before day one of the season, going back to the preseason, and obviously the issue with Mikhail getting sold. One of the, if not the biggest wall that we had right next to Sviatchenko, which also has not been available the entire year. So the backline itself has been a major issue since before the season started. And our concerns as fans, even before then, has been how are we going to fill those gaps? Not just for Mikhail, but also Hector Herrera and Coco. And obviously, we had the players that were brought in the meantime to at least alleviate those issues, but unfortunately, that has not been the case. Particularly, the backline that has been extremely inconsistent. We've been trying to find the pairing that was going to be the best one to not not really replicate what we had going on prior to that, but really to hold us up because obviously it's going to be difficult to replicate that type of performance day in and day out. But the team has not been the same. Like this year has been absolutely miserable, and this game, the first goal for Chichorango, we literally had like two players in front of the ball. The ball just waltzed in slowly, like a low ball inside the box, and he's just like able to in a certain way tap it in because it was right in front of goal and nobody else to stop it. Like defensively speaking, when it comes to especially counterattacks, we are lost. And every single game, like almost every single goal that we concede has been like that. And for me, it's just absolutely infuriating because as a defense, we try to stay consistent no matter what. And obviously, injuries and players that have been trying to step up, especially you could say Femi, and you could also say like Gru's trying to adapt still, but that's been the story of the season so far. But OSG, oh,
No,
the
so
first half.
I was there at the game and I saw that play like you talked about. You hit it on the nose. It felt like we just let it through, and there was like you said, there was two defenders that just kind of just let. I thought you had me covered, and like just let it through, and then Cheese was right there and poked it in. Nobody's covering no more. It's like, dude, this is the mistakes that we've been making all year, and you still haven't picked it up. That's why Ben keeps saying in the damn press conferences, we're still working on it. Quote. Hashtag, we're still working on it.
At this point, I'm ready to see Femi back at center back. Man, we at least were winning a few more games when he was playing there at the beginning of the season. I know a lot of people in several of our chats would love to fight me on
Well,
that one, but
Tony, what do you think of Carlos then at center back right now? Yeah, so
I mean,
Eric's out. We can't count on him right now. He's going to return here in a second. He says he's ready, and we'll see him. But what do you think of Carlos right now?
I think he's definitely an improvement over what we have, but he's not going to come and save the back line. No, I
No,
mean, the thing is, you could go get Sergio Ramos or Prime PK, Prime Puyol. They're not going to come save this back line. It's a collective, as cheesy as that sounds, but just these guys are so disconnected. Artur's on an island at the six. He can't cover that much ground. He's not that type of six to just that's a destroyer and is gonna command everything. He does have some of those qualities, but he needs his sidekick. We're not gonna bring up he who shall not be named Hector Herrera, but it's just you took away the pillar of a team and you're wondering why it's not functioning anymore. It's pretty evident.
It's not really functioning, and honestly, everything that Van Olsen has built has been exposed to this point, and without the players that are needed to cover the gaps that we initially been discussing for almost the entire season, it was going to be difficult, especially against teams that have faced Dynamo before and know how to play them. But at this point, it feels like everyone in the league knows Houston Dynamo, and we're taking all the goals, all imaginable goals, like every single week, and us as fans, it's kind of like, what are we hoping for? We've been hoping for a decent or good summer window, and we're definitely going to talk about that later on in the episode. But the second half itself, it felt like for me the entire season in a nutshell, because San Jose is just able to double the lead, and it's just us trying to build up the play. We can't build from the middle, so we have to go in at one of the wings and try and cross the ball in to see what happens. Antonio Carlos gets a goal. I'm not even celebrating. I'm just like, okay, we're gonna tie the game. We're playing at home, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
I hate how sour I've become, but I was talking to our good friend Colin Toro the other day from Keeping Tabs.
Of course.
Colin Troll, as we like to call him, and I was telling him, like, at this point in the season, I don't think I would even be happy if we make the playoffs. As crazy as that sounds, like, I'm so soured on the team right now. Like, I don't want to just squeak in ninth place and call it a successful season. I hate how much of a grumpy old man I've become with the Dynamo, but I just want to put the season behind us, honestly, already, and get into the off season. But unfortunately, we still have quite a few more games to play.
Tony, that's a rightful protest right there, man. What the most points we had in history last season, and what do? We bail out against Seattle, and then you're like, let's not barely make it in the season we've been having, and then just get pushed out again. Like Pat's already said, he's next season. We're building next season, so
Yeah,
it's
and this is MLS, so in theory, we could go into the off season, spend 15 million in transfers, 10 million in transfers, and we're right back in the mix of things with the same coach, with the same GM. And look, at that point, you have no other choice to be happy. But do you really want to like roll the dice on that again? It's just when that's. I guess I don't want to get into the whole thing about the issue with MLS, but the issue with MLS is there's not real pressure, and that essentially some of these guys like Pat or whoever, they can call this a lost season already and start moving on to the next, and there's no repercussions of relegation and all this stuff. But that's a whole other,
Yeah.
path that we don't need to go into right now.
Yeah. And that's a good segue to the next topic because we're going to talk about Houston into 2025. But it's kind of like you've been saying, like, obviously, the thing about parity, the thing that owners are sold to MLS is the fact that there's still a chance you can make playoffs. And we have 18 teams across the league that can make playoffs, which is like a little bit over half the league that can just like go into the play-in and try and make a deep run. And I'm in the same boat as you. Like it's obviously I'm as an optimistic diehard Dynamo fan, I want my team to succeed every single time. But just looking at us, how we are, our formation, our players, our roster, our coaches, our decisions every single week, I don't want to see my team get humiliated in the playoffs. Like if we can make it through the play-in, cool. But how can we physically or like watch our team just make like a miraculous deep run like this? It's almost, if not impossible.
And that's,
I mean, we could be the SKC of last year too, or the year before, whichever, and made that little run coming in as a 9. So, but no one believes in it right now.
No one would believe in that right now. It could happen, but I don't know. Hell would have to freeze over at this point, and that's the thing with that's the thing about kind of how we're just rolling over, and maybe already seems like we're looking forward to next season, because I feel like that's just disrespectful to the fans. And I know all three of us don't live in Houston, and unfortunately I can't make it down to games as much as I used to, or as much as I'd like. But I know OSG's down there every weekend if he can. Andres is down there a few times a year, and it's just like, I mean, I'm not just being selfish talking about us and our money and blah blah blah, but I'm talking about like the season ticket holders, the people in the Bayou and the Surge and Texian Army, everything. Like, dude, these people put not just money but a lot of time, and like, I don't know, it's just
everything.
I'm not like some stupid fan that thinks every season is going to be a championship and blah blah blah, but it's not about that. We're just seeing like a lack of effort and like due diligence from a lot of people in the front office and the organization that just feels like disrespectful to the fans after all we've been through the past few years.
Yeah, and that's pretty much a good way to get into the next topic, because obviously out of this game, Houston losing 2-1, 8th loss at home, new franchise record, record, and to celebrate 20 seasons in Houston, by the way. So it's like you kind of just said it already. Us as fans, especially the season ticket holders that have been there since 2006, still putting money into the organization. They want to watch every single game at home, and obviously the fans also came in along the way that put in the time and money to be at games, have a good time, and just be part of the experience and part of the culture. Like, you celebrating 20 seasons like this, and really already looking into next year, and whenever we get to talk about what Pat has said later on, it's absolutely infuriating, especially just being like a paying fan, to just have that assumption, because it's kind of true. Like, it feels like the team is already lost sight of 2025, already looking into what's next. But I'm gonna ask you guys first this. 2025, how do you guys see us right now heading into 2006? I'm going to start with Tony.
I mean, this is just under the assumption that we're going to keep having the same kind of results we've been having, and end the season in 13th place or whatever it is. And I mean, yeah, that's my prediction for how the season is going to end. But whether we can do something productive, if anything, with these last few games, even if we're not making playoffs, like, I mean, just kind of hold our heads high and and try to play some games well and make the fans proud. But I would say like try to debut some more young players and try to bring them through the system. But I don't really think we have any like young players that are right there on the cusp of the first team at the moment. Unfortunately, I mean maybe Seba Rodriguez from Dynamo Dos, but I don't really see Ben doing that with his job on the line, quote unquote, as far as we know. But
Well,
yeah,
Diego got hurt too, so he's
Yeah.
no,
not been playing, so you can't use him.
this would have been the perfect season, I think, for Diego to possibly get
Oh,
some minutes. I don't know.
right. Hop in there and just
Yeah.
throw something out. Yeah.
You would have thought so at least, but unfortunately, he had a season-ending injury, and who knows if we'll ever see him for the first team at this point.
Later on, Pat did talk about like how we are building the youth better. We don't have a youth program. We have 4 academy teams, and that's it. So it's not like we're stealing players from all over the community. We're letting the community build their programs and then provide them to the Dynamo Academy. And they're building that relationship. And Pat talked about it in one of the interviews how someone burnt the bridge. He didn't mention who. The bridges were burnt, but he's building it back. So it's a good thing to build the community back, bringing the academy back, and it's looking better because the academy is looking better. Granted, Dose is the youngest team ever as it has ever been. So it's working, but don't lose focus on the first two.
And it's like, and one more thing off of that. I don't know. I keep hearing the same sentiment from the organization, from Pat, from Ben, and even sometimes the players trickling down. And I get it; they're not going to throw each other under the bus, and you want to keep team morale high. But they keep saying, "Oh, the teams in the game were close. Like we're this, we're that." It's like having a team that's close, is only losing 1-0, 2-0, or whatever. That's not something to be proud of specifically. It's just,
Oh,
sometimes it's easy to say this now, but I'd rather see us going for games and losing by bigger margins than by just passing the ball around aimlessly and not creating any chances. I don't know.
No,
Usually,
especially
go
with the
ahead.
foundation that you've already built. So sorry for interrupting, but especially with the
No,
foundation that you've already built for the past 2 seasons, you've already set the expectation that you're gonna be playing better than this. And by selling Coco, by selling Hector Herrera, by selling Mikael, like before the season starts, and even without making like those moves to like cover those gaps, it sets expectation to us saying that okay, we know what we're doing. Relax, guys. But obviously, as season goes on, all these issues happen. It's kind of like okay, what's going on? Like you told us this wasn't going to be an issue. We believed in you, and now we're worse than we were 2 years ago. So it's like,
yeah,
what
Pat
are we
also
supposed
said
to
that
think?
we had preparations Coco everybody knew about, right? He was
Right.
surprised to hear when Glenn mentioned Coco was a surprise. No, we all knew about Coco. He was leaving. I thought Bossy was the first Coco replacement, and then Seba was the second Coco replacement. Now it's McGlenn who's the Coco replacement. So we've had 3 Coco replacements. And then he goes, we're surprised by Mikel. Mikel got an interest in the English league or in Europe from some whatever. So well, we didn't think of anything else, so we didn't prepare for it. You big dork. The biggest of the biggest are thinking about it. Why would South America not think about it after the fact? They're like, hey, these fools stopped on him. I'm jumping in right now. You big dork. You just talked about how you planned and then you didn't plan. So you're a legend, Pat. You're a legend. Dynamo legend. Yes, you are. So you were asked and you don't feel like it or whatever, being humble. You're a legend. Or bro, you're making mistakes right now and it's hurting the fan base and their fan morale. Remember, we spent 9 years in the void, in the twilight zone with
Mm-hmm.
the other guy. When I think about MJ, I want to think about basketball, number 23 and the Bulls or whatever. Even though the Rockets didn't get to play him in '94 and '95, I don't want to think about the other one, man. So step it up, bro.
No,
Sorry.
yeah, like that's a good way to put it, OSG. Because I was gonna ask you initially your thoughts about this year and what you expect for 2026. like for everything that's already been hinting at by Pat, and we'll get to that when we talk about the interviews this week. But what are your thoughts, OSG?
I mean, so you had the season ticket holder event this weekend on Sunday that I went to. I walked around. I took some pictures, talked to some people, talked to Asher. Saw Ben. Didn't talk to Ben, but Pat was there. All the players were there. Even Alessandro was there, who might be hopping on a plane here in a second. So, eh, man, the perspective right now, and I even said this and asked this question, is like, are you getting mean mugged as walking through? Are you getting asked? Are you getting asked this? Are you getting asked that? And it was defensive. It was defensive, sort of. Good answer, but defensive, saying yeah, everybody's just gotta relax and just understand what's going on. But at the same time, like it feels like we're being left behind and the sea's being pushed. Pat got defensive whenever I think it was Bow City asked, "Are you not being transparent to the fans?" And he says, "Yes, I am. Yes, I am." But at the same time, you're not going to admit that we're done with this season, but you have kind of sort of in these last two interviews or what you're talking to the fans because they post everything on social media at the season ticket holder event. So things get out and everybody says something. Quinones promises us LA Galaxy surprise, by the way. So we'll see how much bullshit comes from all
Oh,
of that season ticket holder event.
I've been promised Quinones for so long, man. I don't believe anything until I see him on the lineup and I see him touching grass with his cleats on.
Quinones jogging on a treadmill is a success enough for me, bro. Just
Yeah.
go coach give him a job coaching the U12s and like let's move on, man. Like I'm sorry, if he hasn't come back in 2 years, it's done.
Right. He did look like he was kind of hobbling a little bit, but you know, shout out little Julio right there to asking the question, and I did it on video where I caught him asking it, and Quinones said it himself. Look for a surprise against LA Galaxy, and then I went hashtag Do you believe it? Let's see. Otherwise, people on FIFA 25 on whatever they're playing on when he's streaming, they're going to be calling his ass out. Like, bro, just are we CEI or are we SEI? Just tell everybody, hurry up with it. Get out of here.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows, but
He has
you
an
know what?
option still too.
Yeah. You know what? Like it's the silver lining of all of this is that Nelson Quinones is okay because that injury, man. I've been scarred by that injury because I was watching that game live. I remember like a couple like feels like forever now, but I'm
Yeah,
glad
I
that he's
mean,
okay. I'm glad. Yeah,
just to defend myself, sorry, yes, I'm just talking about the moment, the coming back to the team.
yeah,
I'm not trying to hurt his health or anything like that. I hope he is healthy and I hope he is returning.
Oh
If
yeah.
he's returning, yeah, bro, like getting healthy and if you're done with soccer, then do something different and enjoy your life. And you know what?
yeah.
Maybe he's fucking up his paycheck right now, and just after he's done, he's like, "Oh, I'm 22." It's like I just sucked up the health plan, so cool. I'm a smart kid.
But I guess talking a little bit more to what Andres was actually bringing up about the season in review so far, it's
Yeah.
I just think back to the home opener against FC Dallas, and it was cold and rainy, and man, that back pass that Bartlow made to cost us the game and was really a bad
Yep.
omen for the whole season. From then forward, it just felt like it was week after week the same thing. The Miami at home and
Yeah.
Messi not showing up, red card
Oh,
early. We lose 4-1. Lodeiro leaves us mid-season because we suck so bad, and I don't know. It's like I don't want to keep harping on it over and over again, but obviously, me and Oshi have brought up several times like some quotes from some Pat interviews. If you guys don't know, he was on Bayou City and on Glenn Davis Soccer Matters this week, Pat Onstad, and it's just you know, I guess it's fresh on the mind. That's why we keep bringing it up. But you, I don't know if OSG has any specific items he wants to bring up from that.
I mean,
Yes.
yeah, go ahead, Andres. I mean, I mean, just the defense and just saying like, wasn't expecting this and wasn't prepared for that. Did this before at Columbus and focused on this and like basically saying 100% confident in Ben. I have no quarrels with Daddy Ted at all, by the way. Daddy Ted is doing his job. He has admitted he's not a soccer entrepreneur. He is a business entrepreneur and his necessity is getting help from it. And he's trying to build that help. And that's why Dash maybe are on the market to get necessity help there, not to be sold, but to get help. He's using Tim Howard. He's asking for the help, and right now Pat I think is struggling, and it's noticing, and people are asking why we don't reach. We went out for a Ponce. Yes, we spent $8 million, and that's a record. But what did Ponce do before that? He was scrutinized. He was not like, hey, this is a badass transfer right here. There's others. So man, Pat's picks right now
Yeah,
are being scrutinized. Go ahead, Tony.
I'll play devil's advocate there, and I mean I think Ted deserves his fair share of blame, and I know he recently had an interview as well with one of the local big TV stations. I can't recall if you guys do, but I don't know. I feel like even that interview was a little bit low key. It wasn't really broadcast out there too much, and I feel like he should probably like maybe make some more public statements and protect his guys a little bit as well. Because
Yeah.
I mean I don't know what things are like behind the scenes, but even though we're all mad at Pat and Ben, but yeah, it would be nice if your boss came in and stood up for you a little bit if you really do have their backs. And I just hate when Ted and Pat right now in these interviews that they're doing, they have to remind us what they've done, how much they've spent, and
Right.
when you're having to remind your fans about what you did already, you know you're in a bad place because unfortunately, for better or worse, in the soccer industry, it's not about what you did yesterday; it's about what you're doing for us for us now. And
And Pat
I hate
Pat did
yeah.
that twice. Pat did that twice, right? In the Glenn interview, where he brought up the past. The
Yeah.
last 2 years were great. The last 2 years were great. Like this year's a wash. So I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah,
And
it's crazy.
I just
Yeah.
hate that I just hate when they do that. And Ted's saying he spent X on Naldi 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and it's like, man, to keep up in MLS nowadays, you have to be spending like that year after year. And if you're not spending like that, then you need to be dishing you need to be dishing players back and forth like the Philadelphia Union or some of these other teams that are making moves even on the lower budget side, but they're making moves trying to improve their team at all times. And this past transfer window, maybe it's just us like not doing anything, waving the white flag, and preparing to spend more in the coming off season. But that goes back to the comment I said earlier. Like it's just disrespectful to fans, and it really shows that we've given up. And if they don't care, then why should we?
Yeah, like it's just before we get into the topic of the transfer window and all that, since we're already in the topic, I just wanted to give some context into the interviews by Pat Onstad. And first of all, shout out to Bayou City Soccer and Glenn Davis for organizing these interviews. If you guys haven't tuned into those already, I highly encourage you to tune in. I think roughly they're like 30 minutes each, if not more, and they're very insightful. Obviously, some of the questions were asked in different ways, and they're both very very good, like very good interviews. Although like Glenn's had like more some of the fan perspective because he was able to like ask questions from fans to Pat. And honestly, the after listening to both, the one thing that you can really definitely see from Pat is definitely taking a defensive stand and defending Tetsi goal and defending everything that they have done before this year and what they worked on this year. And it's kind of like, look, I get we've done some good things, but the elephant in the room over here is telling me that we are absolutely not taking advantage of anything we've done last year. and we're already looking into 2026. And even then, we're saying like, "Hey, it's okay. We still have some games left in the season to make the play-in." And I'm like, "How are you thinking about playoffs right now? We haven't won a game in over a month. Like it's like, eh."
Yeah. I mean,
It's
I think
crazy. I put these up just because they look like they're in college. So I was thinking, let's go back to school. Let's go back to school.
Literally.
Go ahead, Tony.
my thing is that I feel like this transfer window could have been used, even though it's late in the season. This transfer window could have been used to like maybe prove to the fan base and even to the players.
Yeah.
Like if we would have brought somebody impactful in, even from within the league, I think that could have shown, the players and the fans, hey, we're serious. We're, maybe even if we don't make the playoffs this year, we're going to go for it. But
So
there was
Tony,
just no movement on that side. And one more thing before you comment, OSG. When was the last time the Dynamo made an impactful signing within the league? Why are we only obsessed with foreign talent? Like a big part of MLS roster building nowadays is utilizing domestic slots appropriately, and it really seems like we're not doing that.
no, that's a good question. We'll have to ask
That's a
Pat
great
and Asher
question.
during the off session.
Yeah.
But so Tony, I ask you too. At the same time, Ben refuses to lose Linger as the cam or playing him as that center, that midfielder. McGlynn to his right, Dorsey overlaps to the right. Start Anali on the left. And granted, he did say Anali's his super sub. Pat just said on the interviews that he's not 90 yet. Why is the guy not 90 yet? He looks 90, he looks ready, and he complains when he comes off, or he doesn't look like he's ready to come off at the same time. So why are we not starting Anali to the left? Why are we not starting Linger in the middle? McGlynn, boom. And then, you know what? Arthur's right there. You have Dorcio, you have Andrade, you have Carlos, and I see Cinco that's coming back, or Ortiz, who maybe is hurt right now. Something Bartlow can back up and do a good job as long as there's somebody experienced next to him. He can't be the leader of the two center backs. What do we? Why can't we do just those simple things? There's other things too. So, Ben refuses to make changes. Linger hasn't played in that spot. Is Linger the hype he was? Because he hasn't been since the first two games.
No, I
Or is
mean,
he out of place?
and
He's voiced it too.
and that brings us back to one of Pat's comments in his interview with Glenn, where he said, where he doesn't want to judge Linger because he's been played out of position. I
That's right.
mean, that comment right there should worry you. Of Pat technically can't tell Ben what to do because even though Pat's maybe in the top of the hierarchy there, he can't tell a coach how to play. But man, that disconnect there is worrying for me as a fan, and I think that says all you need to know about like uh, you know Pat's bringing in some players that maybe him and Ben agree on, but then they come in and Ben doesn't want to. Ben is too rigid with his system, like we've seen for the past 2 years, and he
We
just
pay,
refuses to change it up.
Yeah, we paid for the scouting. We're using the analytics. We're using the scouting network that we required. That Ben sat down with Pat and Asher and came up together. We found Andres Linger, dynamic foxtrot, and brought this guy in because it's what fit the mold and fit the script. And Ben obviously had to approve it before you bring the guy in because that's not how Pat works. That's how Pat says, I don't do things just out of the friggin' blue. So he's obviously talked to Ben and said, do you like this guy? I'm bringing him in. Does he? Yeah, he's good. Toyoso Alasanya, same thing. Ben had to have written off on it and said, yes, this dude works. Bro, I don't care how much you like the personality. Just let the guy out there and go and play. But, it's so friggin' annoying, man.
It is. And it's a lot of topics, obviously, to digest from both interviews. And it gives a sour taste in everybody's mouth because they keep saying these things that we have already done. They keep saying these things that we can accomplish in the future, but it's kind of like you should be looking at this season, man. Like it's obviously we'd like to make playoffs, but like we discussed before, like it's unreachable. Like we're not gonna live MLS Cup this year. If we do, then I'm gonna eat my shoe on a
Hey,
live stream, but it's not gonna
I'll go.
happen.
I'll go on record right now. If the Dynamo win the MLS Cup this season, I will get a Dynamo tattoo. You guys can hold me to it. I swear to God.
I'll get a Dynamo tattoo on my butt cheek and show it off to all you motherfuckers. No, sorry, excuse me. That's so wrong, but because that's how we know it ain't gonna happen. But Andres brings up a good point. Like, why are we building for next season? Why can't we do something to salvage this season with, like he said, 18 out of 30 teams or 32 teams that make the playoffs? You still have a hope. You still have a run. You get a home game. And then you play well on the road. So now you're going on the road and you can do something different. We're still trying to build our fan base and put seats in the and butts in the seats and slacking off another friggin' year after 2 good years is a poor excuse. Is a poor friggin' excuse because we are trying to build this friggin' fan base. The World Cup is coming next year, and you see what the international fan base does when the games are at our stadiums. It's ridiculous what we're doing right now, and we just won't fix it and do better. And you could do so much more with this fan base and just draw them in. There's so many opportunities. Give away friggin' tickets. Excuse me, Andreas, you ready for the beep? Give away fucking
Yep.
tickets to people in Houston. It's so stupid, dude. I can't believe you have so many tickets that just go to waste. Use them, draw
Yep.
the fan base. I don't care what they wear into their first game. They might wear something into their second game because you drew them in. Do something more. We're wasting so many tickets. I'll move to Houston right now and take over that position. Let me go. I will be in all over Houston my whole time, my whole gas, because no one's ever paid for my gas anyway. And I will get you butts in the seats. Let's go. Next. Sorry.
And you did, yeah. Like I mean, you're so right because there has to be some sort of approach because I'm tired of seeing the stadium like half empty for most of the games, especially the ones that are on the middle of the week. You don't have to give away tickets for every game. Like you can use it for certain games, and look, like work something out with like concessions, merch to like make that money back because like it's better than just seeing the stadium empty, man. Like they have to do some sort of outreach, and you said it yourself with the World Cup starting next year. You're gonna build some sort of momentum, and unfortunately, it's not there. But yeah, it's
And
already a lot of topics. Yeah, Tony.
if I could just put a bow on the whole Pat interview conversation,
Yeah,
the one last thing I wanted to cover off of that is it's what irked me the most and what I told y'all about before we started. Just you know, Pat kind of gave a breakdown of defending Ted, saying that Ted's not the problem. He has the checkbook open for us, and that and Pat, I mean, not Pat, Glenn pressed Pat, saying then why are we bottom three, bottom four, and spending in the league? And Pat said it's not because of Ted, it's because we just haven't found the right players to spend wisely on. And I mean, I think that tells that tells. I'm not saying that their job is easy, but when 20 other teams around the league are signing players and we're not, that
Tony,
I
right.
mean,
you're pervy to La Hinchada. Dago is probably the greatest scout of La Hinchada ever in the history of La Hinchada Scouting Network. It is finding players left and friggin' right, and they're good players, they're decent players, and some of those players are available. Some of those players are cheap, and then we question what we're paying for some of these other guys, and like, what are their history? Haven't played, got 14 Bundesliga games in 4 years, like what the hell, or 2 years, or whatever the hell it is. Like, what are we doing? Are we
but
using Chat GPT to pick our players?
I
Literally.
mean, we we probably would be doing better if we just had ChatGPT as our GM, but you
Maybe
know,
so, maybe so.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
anyways, I don't want to make this whole episode a rant fest, even though that's all the Dynamo
Yeah,
world
we do.
Dynamo world is right
Uh,
now. But
that's it's already been a little time for like the past month, honestly. But yeah,
Hey,
we're
look,
I
almost
mean,
circled around.
I have both of you. I have a question for both of you. All right, right. I have a question for
yeah,
both of you. Look, I'm looking for them. I'm finding them. Here we go. Look, there's 7 of them. Hold on. Sorry. There's 7 of them. They're orange. They're orange, right? They each have a star in them. Some have 1 up to 7. They're called Dragon Balls. All right, you have a choice. You can choose the 7 orange Dragon Balls and make any wish you want. And depending on which dragon you've used, you get 1 to 3. A super dragon is just an infinite dragon. Or you can go with this blue evil one and just delete the club, period. Which, hey, are you using the orange Dragon Balls?
I'm missing the orange Dragon Balls to wish for
You
a
know,
DP.
we don't want to give up on the club, man, but it's we're all too familiar with these feelings in the past 10, 15 years of up and downs, but more downs than ups. And maybe we didn't enjoy the good times as much as we should have, because man, they went by in a blink in the past
Yeah.
2, 3 years. When me and Andres were down in Miami celebrating the Open Cup final,
No.
but I mean,
Hold
I
on,
guess it's
who? All 3 of
me
us,
and
bro.
Yeah.
oh, and OSG. I forgot,
You don't
but
forget. Don't admit that I gave you an out, and you still said I
Oh,
forgot. Damn.
hey, man, I was
I
sitting with
can't
Andres
believe.
that day.
Yeah, like right next to me. But like, yeah, I mean, how crazy has it been 2 years since we won the Open Cup? That's insane.
That was insane. That's fun. And dude, what has happened since then? What has happened since then? This is just insane what we're doing. And Mikel is the biggest excuse. And Hector Herrera. I mean, you replace Hector Herrera with McGlynn, and yeah, the other ones were Coco was replaced with Bossy and Seba because that was replaced 2 years before, and then Mikel was the biggest surprise, and you failed that one because you should have expected it, you should have been prepared for it. Like you said, you were prepared for it with Coco, and you were, obviously from who you had here, so you failed yourself. This season is a failure, and he even admitted if we're at this point next season, then my ass should be fired. He didn't use that last word, that first word, but I don't want to get to that point where we're at this point
No,
next year and the same shit because I'll be throwing vomit at this camera right now.
I don't want to start the season, get 10, 12 games in, and we realize, oh, we should have changed everything up what we could have, and it's at that point it could be another wasted season again. That's what I'm worried about. But I'm sure Andres wants us to move on and talk about the actual one transfer that we made this year,
The one.
Oh
this summer.
yes, the transfer window.
All right, how do you
It's
guys say his name without look? You can't look at the screen. How do you say his name?
Diadié Samassékou.
Damn, this guy went
I had to
on.
practice. I had to practice after I had to look at the email 2 times just to remember his name. But yeah,
Oh
No, I
yeah,
mean,
they give us the pronunciation. Cheater. I mean, not technically, but good job.
but yeah.
just
Using
my
u-
Thank you.
using the research provided for you. Yes, I like it.
Yeah. No,
but
yeah,
just
but
my thoughts on him, like off the top of my head. Obviously, he hasn't played as much as you would like in the past 2 years. Um, you know, the jokes just make themselves at this point with MD Anderson FC and injured reserve FC. But getting past those memes, on paper, of course, it's a midfielder that you would want on your team. Still, in the prime of his career, technically 29 years old, with a really great resume in Europe. Full international for his country. It's if you asked me what our needs were this window, I wouldn't have probably told you defensive midfielder. But once you think about it a little bit, like I mentioned earlier, you don't want to leave Artur there on an island. So ideally, if you can bring in another six to play next to Artur and relieve him a little bit of that, destroyer slash just sole number six responsibilities, I think you're really helping the team.
But
Then
he's
maybe you
not for
start
this
asking,
season.
okay,
He's for
well,
he's for next season. Rain's supposedly only
yeah,
missing the last 2 games of the season, and Pat admitted for next season. He said it. You heard it, Tony. He said for next season. We're only going to book a range that's going to go, blah blah blah. So
yeah,
I
but
get it. Hopefully he can get some minutes and some time towards this end of the season, improve himself, and say, hey, get so we can get a fan perspective of him at least, and Like, do we need him more? And then maybe as the media, we can ask him a couple questions. Why aren't we using this guy more? He's there. Just like we ask, well, why isn't Alisson? He doesn't train well. Well, he's going back to England now. Thank you, fucker.
Rumored, allegedly, but it's more unlikely now because he
What
hasn't
is it?
been seeing.
Donker City or whatever the hell it is. Sorry, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I haven't researched it, but I know it's a
It's
rumor.
Doncaster
Doncaster,
Doncaster. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry, my bad, Tony. Thank you.
yeah.
in League
But
One, so
yeah,
the third
I did
division.
want,
Okay.
yeah. I did want to provide some more context about the signing because 29-year-old Mali international defensive midfielder Diadié Samassékou, he did, like as you mentioned, he did sign a contract for through 2026 with options going towards 2028, and that was the only signing. And we've been kind of just expecting some sort of attacker, and there's been the best story of the transfer window in a bad way, allegedly for us, because apparently one of the rumor players that was supposed to be coming to Dynamo was Juan Cordova, a 22-year winger that used to play for Dynamo Zagreb back in Croatia, and it's a little bit of a player that we've been asking for a while now because he's another winger that could provide some coverage for Quiñones, which has not been available for over a year now, and apparently Juan traveled to Houston to do his medical test, and he failed.
Yeah, so
We're
I
gonna
had
we're gonna
done
keep an eye on him though.
I had done a little bit more digging on that for like I was kind of following the transfer rumors for a while. Um, Juan Cordova used to play for Atlético Nacional in Colombia, if I'm not mistaken, and he really kind of shot off the scene like really quickly in Colombia, and he didn't really have even like time to have a full season in Colombia where he was a MVP candidate or anything like that. It was nowadays these scouts are watching the South American leagues, and as soon as they score 2 goals, they're shipped off to Europe, and that kind of seems like is what happened with Cordova. He ended up at Dinamo Zagreb uh, last year, and at that point, Dynamo
Yeah,
wanted him. The Houston Dynamo wanted him before he left Atlético Nacional. We didn't make the cut. He went to Zagreb, had a less than stellar season, but also had a lot of injury troubles. And what ended up happening was he had a move secured to Sporting Gijón of La Liga 2. And when he went to get his medical done, um, he also failed it in Spain. So when I read that, and then that I read that we were interested, I was shocked. How, if he failed his medical in Spain, what were we thinking trying to bring him in? Isn't that like a huge red light? And what do you know? He fails our medical, so wasted resources, wasted time. Um, yeah, just really unfortunate because we really could have used another right winger in the squad for the playoff push, quote unquote.
quote unquote. I
For real,
mean,
that was,
it's just
you're not kidding. That's wasted resources especially when everybody's telling you to before the fact. Before the fact, and you still do it. You still follow through with it. Maybe there's a hope because we're MD Anderson. This isn't cancer. It's someone's knee or leg or whatever it was.
I mean, you'd think us the fans are the only ones with Google when it's not. Maybe we're sick. We're sicko super fans that watch. Try to follow every news, but man, just pay us by the hour if you want. We'll monitor. We'll monitor the news for you guys
yeah.
and tell you this stuff. It really does not take a lot to look into this. And I mean, my thing is just if you see he failed a medical with another club, what makes you think that our doctors are any more special than professional doctors in another country that deemed his knee
He was
not trustworthy?
released because of medical and then failed medical before failing medical again.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like if I can add something, I just wanted to say that it's absolutely ridiculous that we're looking at a winger that has medical issues that could potentially fail the medical test, and for the entirety of the window and for the entirety of the season, trying to look for a player that can cover the wing while Quinones is gone, and which has been a known fact for over a year now. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that our only player that we have some sort of knowledge that Houston was trying to bring him in was him, and
There
there
was
could have been
there
more
was
players.
I think there was another winger earlier in the transfer window that it didn't get that much like buzz over here, but there's like a Romanian winger named like Stefan Bayram from like the Romanian league. No disrespect to them, but I don't know. Apparently, he's one of the best players in Romania, and their team wanted to like I don't know. It's like we were offering maybe like
Yeah,
around 2 million, and they wanted 4 or 5 million. And I get it. We're not gonna overpay for somebody, but the interest was there for a right winger, and it unfortunately just didn't happen for one reason or another this window. But if I could add like one more comment on the what'd you say
yeah,
is Samassékou?
Samassékou, yeah.
Samassékou, I'm like kind of excited for that signing. Granted he actually plays because people want to get ahead of themselves and ask like, oh, but if we play Samassékou in our tour, what are we going to do with McGlynn? What are we going to do with Reigns? What are we going to do with Lingard? Man, I don't care. I'd rather us focus on shoring up our back line. Play Samassékou with our tour, play Samassékou with Reigns, kind of protect the center backs a little bit more, and then let everybody else battle out for the starting 10. If you're not good enough, then you go to the bench and you contribute from the bench. But I really think we should focus on protecting the defense first before we try to do anything else. So
Look, if we could just score some freaking goals, some of those things would just wash themselves out. Start Ronaldo on the left. Start Linger in the middle where he's supposed to be. Ponce, hey, this isn't Europe. You can't stand off sides and wait for the team to come to you, and then the ball gets played to you, and you're still off sides. Ben plays possession ball, so the team's gonna build up for a minute before they get to you. So quit standing off sides and get yourself more involved. You obviously see it when Gabe's out there, and when even Alessandro's out there, that they do a lot more where they're trying to stress the field. We even have the same problem over in the dash where, you're starting a person out of position. But Ponce, if you just stay on side, you could be more involved. Ben, if you just
that's
start
a
your players like they're supposed to, you could probably get more creation and get more out of your box. If you just change a little couple things in your stupid freaking tactics that you're stuck to, you might be able to create a little bit more. I mean, you got Andrade, you got Dorsey, Escobar's back now. I don't know what you do with your center backs. That's something you got to ask the medical department, I guess. But go ahead, Tony.
no, just in honor of the NFL season starting soon. It's I don't know for those people that do follow football or NFL, a
Cowboys are
good
mad.
analogy. Other than that, a good analogy is like the Cincinnati Bengals. They have a terrible defense, but luckily they have the two best offensive weapons in the league in Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So they can score 20 touchdowns a game, and it doesn't matter if they have a bad defense. That's why I think in our case, obviously we don't have players that can compare on that same level to a Joe Burrow or whatever. So that's why the debate I'm making is I think we should shore up our defense because we don't have any kind of savior. Ponce is not going to come and score a hat trick every game, so we don't have to worry about defending. But that's just me.
Right, but in the now, with the players that you've chosen, if you could make some changes offensively, you could maybe rectify the mistakes the defense is making and giving up those stupid ass goals where you're losing 1-0 or 2-1. And maybe
Yeah.
you're scoring a goal and it's 2-2, or maybe you win 3-2 or 2-1 because now you have rectified the chance where your creations are not 14 shots on goal or 14 shots at goal and two of those are on target. And your XG is 0.036, which is, or actually it's not that low. It can't be that, I mean, it can be that low. It has been that low, but got to do something different with what you have right now and not rely on, I'm so close to the line. I believe in what I'm doing. Oh man, it's gonna suck if we don't get there though. But make a couple freaking changes and just go for it, dude. Pat's already looking to next season already anyway. So what do you got to risk? You're already safe. Then you're safe. Been out all fucking day, but you're safe. So what does it matter? Make some changes. Do something. Quit acting like a little ass at the press conferences and ask the questions, and quit acting like you're washed out and done. You know next season is coming. At least do the respect of the people asking those questions to you that do come to the press conference for you. And just answer the questions and quit shrugging your head and making frowny faces and all this shit and giving bullshit answers. It's so annoying. I want to respect you a lot, but man, come on, bro. You've done this for so long. Be professional.
Yeah, and
OSG, that was a great rant.
um,
These are the real Dynamo fan feelings. Nothing censored
definitely,
here. Don't blur out those
no,
words,
nothing is
Andres.
censored. Nothing is
Nope.
censored. And
Never. Never.
yeah, and obviously the club is already talking about next season, and we are talking about the next game because we do have, believe it or not, a game against St. Louis City this weekend, and they are worse than us in the standings. But of course, as is a trend this year, we don't know what's going to happen, and we are on the road. So we still haven't won a game in over a month, and we're heading on the road, which we are surprisingly better than at home this year sometimes. And I still don't know what to expect from this game, but we kind of talked a little bit about what we could be improving right now in the last conversation. But I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to start with OSG. How are you going to roll out against St. Louis? Obviously, a team that has been struggling way too bad compared to last year, but defensively speaking, how can we capitalize against them?
I mean, nothing's going to change. It's the same stupid strategy. It's going to be the same lineup. You're going to expect the same. We're going to be on the road, so there's going to be less pressure, so we're going to perform better, is the only thing that you can expect from this team right now. They do not perform at home. They perform, so they're going to have a lot off their shoulder. And St. Louis right now is not performing well at all, even at home. So we do better on the road, so I'm expecting a friggin' win. 3 games. What do we are? No, I'm sorry, that's Dash. My bad. I am expecting a win. Forgot LA Galaxy. I am expecting a win against St. Louis just because we do play better on the road. We are a competent team. We just make mistakes. But I think St. Louis is going to kind of play into our venture this time, and can Ponce stay on side and value-wise his position, and can McGlynn hit one before he takes off for his U.S. camp? Just can we score on the road? Can we score? Period. I, I'm expecting a win. I'm expecting to win. I say it right now, 2-1, probably
All
two to
right.
one, because there's no clean sheet possible.
Yeah. Tony, your thoughts on the game coming up?
Man, I'm just looking at our past results from this year. We've only won 3 games in the past 2 months since May 28th,
Yep.
man. I mean, the past 3 months, my bad. It's already August 28th. It's insane.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we've ever won away at St. Louis.
Not
You
yet.
know,
No.
even though they're having
No,
a
the
bad season.
inaugural one was 3-0. Them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy place to play. Even though they're
No,
not
it's
doing well,
not.
they still have a great fan base, a great stadium. So, if you're putting a gun to my head, I'm not betting on the Dynamo. I'll tell you that.
No.
But but if we had to play head coach, uh, when your team's playing bad, what do you resort to usually? For those of you that know ball, like Big Sam from England, Sam Allardyce, you just
Oh yes.
you play direct, man. I would love for us to, you know, let's stop with the tiki taka around the back so much, and as I'm going to sound like Ted Lasso here, but just get the ball forward and keep the ball in front of you, and you can't lose. That's as simple as that. So, if for some reason Toyosi is still on the squad, which I really doubt he is at this point, I would in my wildest dreams I would love for us to play with like 2 strikers or something, but that's not going to happen. Um,
No.
yeah, I mean, I personally would like to see, like I said, us deploy a system where we play, 2 6s, because we clearly can't, defend well enough, and then that in turn would give whoever the 10 is more freedom to roam. So whether that's McGlynn or whoever's playing there in the so-called 10 or whatever the hell, box to box, left, right, center, whatever made-up positions they're using nowadays, it would give them
Tony,
more
you
room
want
to create.
2 strikers or 2 6s? Which one do you want?
I would prefer 2 6s, but because there's no way in hell Ben's playing 2 strikers.
So
Yeah,
supposedly we play with 2 6s. We just don't use them properly because we're playing a 4-2-3-1, and it's supposed to be
And
Arthur and Reigns is supposed to be our 2 6s, right?
in a traditional sense, you would think so, but I don't know. I
Right.
hate to sound like such a football purist, but it's like I'm so tired of all this 3-box-3 bullshit that that they're preaching. Sometimes it's like I'm all for modern tactics and statistics, but there's only so much that can do, man. It's like at this point, put Glenn at head coach and just let him, you know, coach the team kicking and screaming style.
Hey, well,
I,
I'm
I
with
wish we
you
could
right
do that.
there, bro.
I
I'm
wish
with
we could
you.
do that. It would be way more entertaining.
Yeah,
So like
at
it's
least it would be more
like
entertaining.
like now
But
we kind of have to expect instead of our $8 million DP to score a goal, like our center backs and are scoring our goals, and I don't know where it's gonna come in. We just gotta score the ball in and see what happens.
I will say I hate that his stock has come so down this season for me because obviously we place a lot of the blame on Ben, but I've been really disappointed with Griffin Dorsey's performances this season, and I mean I think I'm more of a rash Dynamo fan than Andres, for example. But if I were the Dynamo, I would be looking to even cut ties with Dorsey this offseason and see what we could get for him in the internal transfer market because uh, I just think, especially in Ben's system, like OSG said earlier, everybody knows how the Dynamo play. Everybody figured out how the Dynamo played right around the time we won the U.S. Open Cup, and we still won that, by a thread 2 years ago, and we're still playing the same exact way, where we overload one side of the field. Everybody knows Dorsey's going to overlap, and what happens? They counter our asses, and we're left a man down in the back, and it doesn't work. Dorsey's not Marcelo from the Real Madrid era. Unfortunately, he's not that kind of quality in the attack. So I just don't
That
think
would have
it's
been
worth.
amazing.
I don't think it's worth the trade-off of giving up so much in the back, having Dorsey press high so much. So
Yeah,
that's. I
Well,
just wanted to say that I really love Griffin, and I would love to keep him, but uh, I just don't think he's a long-term fit for the team, and and I know he has quality, and I just feel like his talents can be better used elsewhere, and we could probably get like a good exchange for him if it was for Gam or for another player. But that's another conversation.
or is it? Yeah, we should transfer him so he can go back to playing right wing if we're not going to use the right wing and play him as a right position. And it's Ben's system that he did well in it at first. Like you said, we've seen him in the Open Cup. We've seen him go into the semifinals, and now this year it's so. I'm going to blame it on Dorsey himself. Also, the league has figured this team out and defends us so friggin' well. But Dorsey still has his opportunities. Also, nobody's finishing those opportunities he does put in the box, so you're not seeing those. And he's not scoring the goals and the highlights. He's also not taking those shots. So I'm with you. I do think his form and his play is down, and it is showing. And so, is it? Do can we throw Escobar over there and save Escobar and renew his contract and keep him longer and let Dorsey go while we still got a little value in Andrade? We buy him, and he starts on the left, and then you figure out your center backs, whoever the hell that might be, and then you build, like you said, Arthur. He's almost done, so you got Reigns who will come back after the World Cup. Uh, Andres with the scissors. He'll be in there to help out as well. That's what I'm just going to call him for now. And then hopefully we can figure out with an Ali can play 90s and be a threat for the entire game, or be a threat with in spurts of the game, and do something. I don't know, but for right now we have to do something different. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. So predictable. You're playing the same way, the same team. So you're gonna get beat. You can't hope.
yeah,
We're trying to figure it out, bro. I figured it out already. The fan base has figured it out already. Tony has figured it out already. Andreas has figured it out already. Do something different.
everyone. everyone. Yeah,
I just want to get back. I just want to get back to the day where we're actually talking about what's happening on the field, like in terms of game by game. And today we were reviewing the past game against San Jose. We talked about that for 2 minutes because what is there to break down? The team's playing like shit. That's just,
straight up unwatchable.
that's my review. It's just unwatchable, like
Yeah,
Andres says. I
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to spend our whole time ranting. We want to talk about you know positive things and things that impress us, but it's really hard to get past that point right now. So I hope everybody knows and is on the same page as us. But hopefully we can turn the page soon on all that.
and it's really been like that for the past month because like we've been skipping actual like detailed talk about games because there's really nothing to talk about. Like we've been seeing this type of game for almost the entire year. Like it's not really worth discussing each game because like we're playing the same way every single time. We keep losing the same way every single time, and it's not really. It's kind of like talking, like repeating ourselves every single episode if we do that. So
Yep.
it comes down to like that, unfortunately. And just to start closing out the episode, we do have like some comments from Sam asking first about the injured checkout, that player that Dole signed a couple months ago. I think it's back in July, Thomas Weisner. Like he originally was a forward, but he can play back apparently. I think it was in Dorsey's position initially. He does, and whatever he's gonna be played, we have to see it still. But I feel like he can just play on the wing towards Dorsey's side. Well, that remains to be seen. And Sam is also asking about Franco Escobar. I think he's still under. It was the injury and then the suspension, but I don't know which one is. Oh, the suspension already went over, but it's like the injury.
He was on the bench last game and he was warming up the
Yeah.
entire game, so he was available and he looked fine. I was there, I was watching him.
Yeah,
And surprised he didn't get playing time.
I'm glad Sam brings up both of those topics because if we want to talk a little bit about 2026 already, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but a lot of the player contracts are coming up for a decision this offseason. So it really bothers me how again Pat references that 2 seasons ago we cleaned house, we made I don't know 16, 18, 20 different changes.
17 last year, 16 this
Yeah.
year, as he mentioned
Yeah.
in the interview as well.
And that he wants to build off the success of previous seasons. But what's going to happen this season? We have possibly
15 changes.
15, 20 changes happening again.
Yep.
Forget about the years past. It's we got to focus on a whole new team. None of these guys are going to be the same. And one of those players that I've been thinking about is Franco Escobar. I think the Dynamo fans should really appreciate the player that we've had for the past seasons because even though we had some of those rumors that he wanted to go to Miami at one point, and then his typical hot-headedness, but he's been a real servant to the club. And I think the writing's just on the wall. I think the writing's on the wall that he's gonna be gone this season. I think he probably wants to leave, and I bet you the team is gonna respect his wishes and let his contract run out. But I think it's a real shame because he's only like 31 years old. He's a veteran in this league. He can start anywhere in the league, in my opinion. That's a guy that we should be offering a 3-year contract, a 4-year contract to retire as a Dynamo. And he could probably play well into those years as a fullback, a center back, whatever it is. But instead, we're running him off, and that's just what really annoys me. I don't want to cast judgment on Weisner because of his injury and stuff, but it just almost seems like we're already planning for 2026. We're already bringing in the Dorsey replacement or the Escobar replacement and Weisner, and that really bothers me. I just wanted to give Escobar his flowers, I guess, and really. I hope I'm wrong in that we retain him, but I think he's either going to go, back to Argentina and play at his, Newell's old boys or wherever, or he's going to go somewhere in MLS and kill it. So,
well, hopefully we're smart enough to keep him. Better keep him. If we're smart enough to keep him, that's like you said, that's a player. That's a type of player. When you were talking, I think that's a player that is coachable by any coach in the MLS right now, and. So, like you said, he can belong anywhere. So, Ben or not Ben, he belongs here, and you can keep him here, and you can utilize him and use him.
Yeah, the thing that I wanted to mention is that we talked a little bit about this in a previous episode, but like he was our team captain this season. Like if I'll see Arthur as like a different type of leader, just although like very quiet, but Franco Escobar like even since the first day he showed up to Houston, like he's been yelling at everybody, and
Yeah,
obviously we can say because he's hot headed and everything else, but more than anything, that just shows his passion for the game and his passion for the team because he's been there in the toughest moments. Of course, this one being a prime example of that. But this year, the games that he started, the games that you saw him play, and the very few games that he was wearing the armband, like he was gonna yell at you to do better, like correct you, and obviously keep you motivated to stay in the game because that's the type of leader you need sometimes because you're gonna be losing games, you're gonna be tough situations where you have to get back in there, and he's shown that. And if he leaves like this, obviously it's gonna be a shame because he deserves his credit for just being a very important piece for the Dynamo for the past few seasons, and of course getting a silverware and getting very close to MLS Cup. So yeah,
yeah. It's like I think he's pretty checked out right now, but I don't really blame him because he's got a coach that doesn't
yeah,
want him there. It seems like, and yeah, it's just a sad way if that's how his Dynamo career ends. Because yeah, the dude's a workhorse. I would want him on any team that I have.
definitely. Yeah, man. Yeah, those were the questions that Sam asked in the chat, and also the last piece of news before we close out the episode. It's kind of surprising, but Jack McLean got called up to the U.S. men's national team again, and this is going to be for the September camp. The friendlies against South Korea and Japan early in September. So after this week, he's going to be heading out to camp, and New Jersey and Columbus. And I mean, Pochettino, he has him in size for 2026, which is nice, but I feel like he's going to be competing for that spot still heading into next year. But I'm going to start with Tony. What do you think about his chances for 2026 and onwards after this camp?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's no secret that Pochettino really likes McGlynn, and I mean, I, I go back to when we first signed McGlynn in the off season, and I want to say that there was a quote that I heard. I don't remember if it was Pat or somebody else say, but McGlynn's kind of a luxury player in modern football and MLS. It's like obviously he's not an out and out 10, but he's that kind of player that the whole reason he left Philadelphia is because he wasn't buying into their game structure where everybody's fighting for the ball and blah blah blah. He's more of that he's one of the slowest guys on the pitch. He's gonna show his work on his long shots, his long passes, and I think that's really valuable. But I also agree my hot take, I guess, for the Dynamo is we can't afford to have that kind of luxury player on the pitch right now, especially uh, in all these games where we really need a game changer. And yeah, you can go back to several times where he saved our butt this season, but I think it's too few and far between. I don't want to blame Jack for this because he's just he's been wonderful, but the Dynamo do need a little bit more of a savior, I guess, at times. And unfortunately, he's really young. He's got a lot of pressure on him, and he's not that guy in the midfield. So I mean, I think just based off of his skill and his talent, he deserves to be in that conversation for the national team. But I think his chances are actually pretty low for the World Cup. I mean, who knows what happens in the next year because it doesn't seem like McKinney and a bunch of Musa's about to get his move to Atalanta and Serie A. A lot of these guys are kind of not playing in Europe and or out of the good graces of Pochettino. So you never know. I would love for a Dynamo player to make the World Cup, but kind of going back again to the Pat interview, he hinges a lot on, McGlynn going to the World Cup hopefully next year, and we're hinting at if he goes to the World Cup, maybe then we can sell him for big money. But I think that's a lot of ifs, and
Yeah,
I don't know. For this, for the sake of
he
Jack, I
also
hope he makes it.
He also mentioned that we bought him. We just gave him the extension for the reason of increasing his value for a transfer when someone does come in. If he does make the World Cup, then granted, we've already got him. So we've increased his transfer amount. And you're right, Tony. It's going to be hard for him to make that 18 because there are a lot of players that haven't been playing for the U.S. team that will probably come back and will get their time back. no questions asked, most likely, and be available for the U.S. team. So hopefully he makes the 18. Maybe come off the bench and put in a corner kick to win a game or something. Someone score the header off it, but. Yeah, I'm with you. So, hopefully he gets some time just for some spotlight and something like that. And somebody's going to come calling in England anyways, or Spain. I'm not technically not Spain. Like you said, he doesn't move quick enough. So I don't know where he fits. Maybe the German league is a good fit for him. Tony,
Italy.
you could, Italy,
Yeah.
shit. Well, there you go. There's a few places you can send him where there was American players already playing, and you build your chemistry and you bring him back to the camp. And so there you go.
My thing is he couldn't crack the 11 in the Gold Cup with a watered down roster.
Right.
I mean, he had his
Yeah.
chances in the friendlies, and he scored that goal against Turkey, I think, early in the
Yeah.
summer. But I don't know if he couldn't crack the 11 for the Gold Cup squad. I think chances of him making the World Cup 23 man or whatever 26 man roster. I don't know how much it is now. I think it's pretty slim, but but best
Right.
wishes
'Cause
to Jack.
to make the
We're
World
giving him
Cup, you
some.
got to be a solid defensive player too, and you're not a solid defensive player either.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's been a lot of conversation around who is going to be like in the roster for the men's national team, especially with 2026. Like it feels like around the corner, so a lot of considerations and even what to expect if McLean even stays in Houston before the World Cup starts. So we don't know. We don't know anything, and anything can happen. So it remains to be seen. But a lot of eyes in 2026, not just men's national team, but also our Houston Dynamo. Um, and first and foremost, Tony, thank you so much for joining in for our Noodle Time. Not
Thank
just
you guys. I
OSG's,
appreciate
not
it.
just ours, not just Mark's, but also yours. You started it, and you're always welcome to come back anytime, man.
Thank you, man.
And just your final thoughts or any comments you want to make, and also feel free to plug in social media or anywhere you like to people to follow.
I mean, unfortunately, I'm not as active as I used to be on Twitter with my commentary and general stuff about the Dynamo, but I'm still watching every week when I can, and uh, especially this season, it's hard to be a fan. But I need to take my own advice. But I guess we shouldn't give up on the team right now. We need to keep cheering for the boys, and although the results aren't always coming, we need to keep some kind of faith because it's our responsibility as fans to keep them
Yeah,
going, and also it's not just about winning or losing sometimes. It's about the friendships we make with you guys. With the guys in the surge, with the guys and girls all over the stadium. So just a little bit of a pick me up for the fan base, and hopefully we can turn things around soon.
definitely.
Look, check it
That's
out
the thing that
behind
we need right now.
Landres' left ear, the surge. You got the surge right here. You got the surge right here with Maggie. You got the surge right here. The surge. So y'all, the surge, pay attention to Tony. Tony makes a lot of sense on Twitter when he does speak on socials. So he's hiding over there in La Hinchada. But y'all listen to him, man. Y'all
Yeah,
listen. So that's a surge member right there as well, bro. So y'all listen. He does make a lot of sense. So throwing it out there. Hashtag
I
listen
appreciate it,
to
guys.
Tony.
Yep.
Appreciate
Tony
it,
and
guys.
OSG, like day one with the Dynamo even back to 2006. Like they've been around way longer than I've been, and Tony has been here since day one Noodle Time, and we always appreciate his insights and of course this episode. So of course, thanks again, Tony, and for everybody that's been listening and watching our episode. Of course, you already know that Foxtrot TV is the best place to watch our episodes live every Thursday. Sam, thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and everyone that's been engaging in the comments as well and watching along throughout the evening. Of course, at Dynamic Foxtrot is going to be our handle for Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky. We also have the Noodle Tiempo handle on X, which just try to keep you guys covered as much as possible, even throughout this season that we have a lot of thoughts on. So make sure to keep to stay updated for the remainder of the season, not just Dynamo, but also Dash and those. And also, we do have our weekly newsletter, Fox in the Box, and the Dash Dispatch written version on Substack. We do have the links for everything in our profile on X and also in our YouTube channel, so check it out if you haven't already. And last but not least, Goals TV is going to be our good platform to check out all the soccer content creators like we are. It's a good platform and highly recommend checking it out if you haven't already. So it's going to be goals.tv/AtlanticFoxtrot. That's going to be for profile. And that's going to be goals spelled with a Z towards the end. So check it out if you haven't already. But guys, as always, thank you guys so much for...
Check it out. Dash Dispatch will be recorded Sunday night, out Monday. So y'all Dash fans, check it out. We're on a road. We're starting our 3-game road trip.
Yeah.
Need y'all to come in and check it out and make some comments. I'll be asking y'all some questions. Need y'all to reply back to us and let us know what's going on over there. But Dash Dispatch will probably be out Monday morning this week. So check it out. OSG out.
Yeah. And all the episodes that are for Dash Dispatch, of course, are always going to be on Foxtrot TV. Usually earlier in the week, but check it out, as well as our press conferences, our media availabilities for both Dash and Dynamo, and our game days that we put out constantly. So, and everything else really. So, as always, guys, we do appreciate your support. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. Once again, Tony, thank you so much for being our guest tonight. And as always, guys, stay noodle, y'all.
Peace up.